Hello, hello everyone. How you doing? It's lovely to be here. I have not been here for a couple of weeks, so I hope you've missed me. So I'm going to be bringing on somebody called Lisa Adams. You will have seen on the promotion Lisa Graham. If you're looking for her on social media at all, she's under the name Lisa Adams. And lovely Lisa is a really experienced nurse. So she qualified in '93. And she's done loads of different bits and pieces in and outside of hospital, so community stuff, hospital stuff. And she's also done a few kind of different of her own private ventures. So she's done some aesthetics. She's also got an interest in menopause and was involved in a retreat pre-COVID. Where she was the clinical nurse resource on that retreat that was helping women with menopause. She's created a group locally to her now on the back of seeing how much appreciation, I guess, for want of a better word, there was from women. She's set up a local group which is running online, so it can run during COVID. She's extremely entrepreneurial. The reason I've actually invited her on tonight, though, is that I really want to focus on something called MLM. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that's why she's coming on. She's going to tell us. It's, I think, probably a non-PC term now, but it's what's known also as pyramid selling. She might tell me off for that. But in the kind of, in the vein of wanting to, get lots of different nurses on here from different backgrounds, different business types, I'm intrigued by this because when I've done surveys with you lot out there, there are a good few of you that are involved in these kinds of businesses. So that's why I thought it would be a good idea to get her on and really find out kind of what they're about and just put them out there as an option. So Lisa's involved with a company called Forever, and they do aloe vera products. So she is going to tell us all about that. So if there's anything that you want to know in particular, obviously just let us know. And hopefully it'll be really useful if you're watching it later on a catch up later. You know where we are. Get in touch if you've got any questions or comments that you wanted to put in the bag. So I think without further ado, I am going to attempt to get Lisa on the screen. So it's always a tense moment.
Hello.
Hello. Yay, I can see you. Right, hold on, let me get you on my screen. Amazing. It's like the magic of technology is, especially in my hands, is quite a miracle, I can tell you.
I know, exactly the same.
So Lisa, thank you ever so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it. So if you don't mind, would you just give your own kind of brief introduction about who you are and where you're kind of at currently before we start getting into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, of course. So hi, I'm Lisa Adams, and I'm a registered nurse. I have been a registered nurse for nearly 30 years now. I have lots of different experience within the hospital and community settings, in acute care. I thoroughly enjoyed my nursing career, but always wanted to find that little something extra that I could do for myself. Mm-hmm. So I have branched out into the area of aesthetics, and I've got my own health and wellness menopause business. But the area that we're talking about tonight of MLM is something that I started over a year ago, and that is an area that I would like to focus on more in the future. I live in sunny Manchester.
Lovely.
I have 2 grown-up children, And I'm just enjoying incorporating all that I'm doing and working on growing, my businesses and embracing the change.
Fantastic. So I'm going to start with a very obvious question, which is, can you just tell us what MLM stands for, and then give us a brief outline of what it means? What is it?
So MLM is multi-level marketing, and it's basically, that is a business model, and it's a business model where there are individual distributors that market their own products. So they're selling their own products and their own service. And we also have other colleagues. So I'm in a team of colleagues working alongside myself, and we are all doing the same thing to our own customers of marketing our products. So we then, we sell our products and we have the profit for the products that we sell. What we don't do is we don't take any profit of any products that anybody else in the team below us sells. So it's all our own profits with our own customers. And basically, this is happening. It's happening in all different areas. It's happening sideways, so in my colleagues. It's happening above me with the person that introduced me to the business, and it happens below me with anyone that I introduce to the business. And we're all doing the same thing, and that's where it gets the name of multi-level marketing from, because it's happening at different levels.
So when you introduce someone into the business, you get some sort of financial reward for that. You're not take. I'm confused on that bit.
Yeah, I think that's where there is confusion, and there has been some bad press in the past about this area, in that people are under the impression that if I introduce people into the business, then I take some commission off what you earn. But in the business, in Forever Living, which is the business that I'm in, I'm sure maybe different companies might work differently, but Forever Living is a business where you are encouraged to grow your team, because you're encouraged to develop your leadership and management skills. So in that sense, I just show, if I was to introduce you to the business, I would then show you the business model and how it works. And then the actual company would then reward me with a 3% bonus. It starts at 3%, and you can progress like in any other business to manager, supervisor to assistant manager to manager. And as you progress, that means that you're introducing more people. So then your team building bonus increases. I'm not taking a cut of anything that anybody else makes. I'm being rewarded off the company for growing my team.
Okay, I get it. And so, again, I'm not at all knowledgeable, or before talking to you, about MLM, but I guess, like a lot of people, I am aware, and I've certainly seen in other Facebook groups some quite negative comments. And do you think that is just based around a sort of misunderstanding of what's going on?
I think it is a little bit of both, in the sense of people not understanding, because I was like you, obviously having a career just in nursing, or, solely in nursing all these years. I had no idea, never even heard of it before. And I think it comes from businesses and people doing it, badly, in the sense of businesses doing it badly, where years ago it was, people compared it to what was known as pyramid schemes, and that was when people would, profit off other people, and almost bring them in under false pretenses, where, pyramid schemes are actually illegal. They do carry a jail sentence if you're operating one, and they do not involve any products. So this is very different to a pyramid scheme. And with the multi-level marketing companies, you also you're a member of the Direct Sales Association, which means that you have a license to directly sell your products. And to be part of a legitimate company, you have to have that license. And that's because there's a code of ethics, of what you're doing. And I think not only the business in the pyramid scheme, of the past, but also people working in the businesses that aren't maybe in it for the right reason, that they're in it to maybe get rich quick, which isn't that kind of business at all. So I think some people have been in it with the wrong intentions that have also given the business a bad name as well.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. Then I said something really bad before you came on, because I did mention the P word. And obviously that was incorrect for me to say that. So it's good to kind of clear that up, because I think these are, like I say, just terms that are sort of bandied around, and you hear people saying, oh, that they're bad, and you just sort of don't, you think, oh, okay, well, they must be bad. So it's good to get that kind of clarification and distinction that they're not the same thing.
And then you're suspicious then, aren't you?
Of course.
What they're about as well, because you're linking with that.
But I mentioned as well, just before I brought you on, that what I have noticed in some of the surveys that I've done with some of the members is that there does seem to be a reasonable number of nurses that have, at least dabbled in MLM. So there's, there is that interest out there. And I guess it has the sort of benefits of, you're not completely alone, as opposed to when you're starting up a sort of, for example, an aesthetics business, because I know you've done a bit of that, then you're a bit more isolated, aren't you, and on your own, and you've just got to kind of get on with it.
Which is frightening, isn't it, at the time?
Yeah, very frightening. So in terms of how did you get started with that? Did you need to do some training? What do you do if you're kind of interested in starting up in something like what you're doing?
I got started through a friend who had been working with this particular company for 4 years, and we never really used to talk about business. She was from a corporate background, so completely different to mine. And I know that she'd researched this before she went into it. She researched it inside out, back to front, upside down, because that's how she is. Whereas I'm the kind of person that would want someone to do that for me and tell me, it's okay. So I knew that if she'd done that and she was doing it over 4 years, then I trusted that was okay. And again, it was at the time where I'd always thought, there must be something else I can do. I just fancy doing something different, and this just at the time it just felt right. And I said to her, "What is it that you do?" So she then told me about it after I inquired about it, and because it's in health and wellness. Obviously, with my background as a nurse, and I've always had a genuine interest. I've got my degrees actually in health studies, because I qualified before the nursing degrees were. So I did my kind of old-fashioned training as such, and then went back to uni and did a health studies degree with a lot of health promotion. So I've always had that interest. So that's how I ended up joining, because I knew someone, which is a lot of how it happens. I never have to go out and talk to people as such, because people will say, what is it you do, and how you look well, how do you do this? So it's always just comes in conversation, and there is no, you don't have to have any qualifications, because there's full training, which the training is provided by a panel of they have an advisory board of doctors, of vets, of nutritionists. Forever have their own scientific team where they do all their own research. So they have a panel of experts that provide free training. Obviously it's all online now, and there's as much training or as little training as you want, because it's your business. So you can put into it as much or as little as you want to.
So you kind of touched on what I was going to ask next then, is that it sounds like you don't pay for the training.
No, there's no payment for the training. No, you do. There's a payment to join.
Okay.
Which is, it's not actually a joining fee, because a lot of people say, is there a joining fee? So no, there isn't a joining fee. But what you actually do is you pay £199, and for that £199 you get your business in a box. Which I have one here.
Let's have a look.
So it's just a box there, literally a box. And in that box, which comes through the post, is 20 of the most popular selling products. And the products are actually worth just under £300.
Okay.
And you get paperwork, you get your direct selling association license. You also get your own web store that's all set up. So you've got all your online e-commerce.
Cool.
You have all your literature, all your everything is just basically on the website for you. You've got head office there to support you. So that £199 is your business in a box to get your business started. And you can use the products yourself to get used to them.
Yeah.
And you can sell them and make your money back if you want to.
Yeah.
But you actually get that business there to get you started to actually then grow your business of what you need to do.
Interesting. So yeah, it's not something that requires a huge financial outlay, which is interesting. No.
If you think in terms, like you say, of a huge financial outlay, to some people £199 isn't it, and some it is. But if you think in terms of if you were investing in a franchise business, that's thousands of pounds.
Yeah. And that's a topic we're going to cover in the next few weeks as well. But yes, is there anything else I wanted to ask about the training? And so other than that, you kind of just get online and work through whatever you feel like where your knowledge gaps are or your interests lie, that kind of thing.
There's live trainings every week, a few times a week. There's different presentations. They're all available. They're all recorded, so they're all available on catch up.
Okay.
There's the information. There's kind of more information there really than you could look into, but it's all there to support you in your business because you are a member of a team. You're not on your own, and you have. They have events teams, so that when we were doing events, you've got your own events team, you've got your own HR, you've got basically everything that would support a normal business. Fantastic. That's all. And also in that box, I always say to people, you get me in the box as well, because, then I would coach a new team member. I would coach and support them.
Right.
Until they really didn't want or need me to do that anymore.
Okay.
Until they were confident. So I would then coach them in their business to achieve their goals and to, help them with what they set out to do. What was their reason for joining? What do they want to achieve? And I would help them to do that.
And it sounds like this is something that, excuse me, is kind of easily combined, not easily, but you're able to combine it with working in another role, for example, in the NHS. You can kind of do that alongside.
Yeah, well, when I started the business, I was working full time. Then I went to part time. My last job finished. My last nursing job finished in the end of June when the contract finished. So I've just been doing this since then, and then I'm starting another job next week, mainly to carry on my nursing pension, NHS pension as well.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah, it's ideal because it fits in pockets of time. So if you only have an hour a day and you've got children and you want to do it when the kids go to bed, if you want to fit it around your current job, there's no targets. There's nothing there that's set because it's your business.
Right.
So you can actually, invest as much time as you want to, and you can do it in pockets, whether it's half an hour. I always have a diary that's in 15 minutes, so that even if I only have 15 minutes, and because I've got different things going on, I love highlighters. I love stationery.
Super organised.
So one's my forever, they're all my different things. So I'm quite strategic in setting my time.
Fantastic.
And if I only have 15 minutes, then it's amazing what you can get done if you just go to pick the kids up from school early and you sat there for 15 minutes. A lot of mums in the business, they do that, and use those little pockets, to incorporate the business into your everyday life.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You can use kind of what I always call kind of dead time or dead space in the day to do stuff if you can plan it, and if you can and if you want to, what it comes down to, isn't it? If you want to put that effort in, it is doable. So I think that's a really useful kind of way of managing that and setting it out in your diary like that, and making yourself accountable to doing it. And I think all of those things you need when you're trying to kind of juggle, as you say, working life, family, but also wanting to kind of set up something new as well. You've got to find that. You've got to make the time, haven't you? That's it.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? When it's your business, there's nobody telling you to do that.
Right.
You're only accountable to yourself, and you've got to have that motivation to achieve your goals of why you came into the business, and you wanted to do this for yourself and your family. So to have that, and again, that's something that I coach my team members to help them, with the time management and doing that. And also with, now we can do Zoom calls, team meetings, with each other, and can do it on, it's a business that they say is a kitchen table business, because you can do it around your kitchen table in those pockets of time.
Yeah. So a question I like to ask all my nurses that come on here is, did you feel like working in the NHS environment has kind of helped your confidence or hindered your confidence, or a bit of both?
I would say that my confidence has grown enormously since I have been in this business. But saying that, I think that to be a nurse in the NHS, you have to have a certain level of confidence, to do the job and face the daily challenges, that comes along with it.
Yeah.
So I think definitely, coming from a nursing background would help, definitely be a help to going on with this kind of business. And you can take those skills and develop them even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you, what would you say is the ultimate goal? Obviously, you've accomplished loads already, and you come over really motivated and driven. Have you got a kind of ultimate goal, or are you just kind of,
Yeah, I mean, really, to be honest, I wish I would have found this 20 years ago. Because I was 51 in March, and I think when I reach 50, you kind of have a little bit of a, not a panic as such, but almost, because you think I'm over halfway through my life now, and you reflect on things. So I wish I'd have found this 20 years ago. So, my goals I feel like my long-term goals are condensed, with time, really. So my ultimate goal would be to one of the visions of this business is that a lot of people come into the business because they want more time freedom. There's a lot of people who come into the business who are earning six-figure salaries, but they don't have any time freedom.
Yes.
So this business allows that to happen, because you can work from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You can work online. So I like to travel. So we've always had nice holidays and travelled. So, I would like to, my goal is to do this full time and to have a life where, it's an uncapped salary. If I put the work in, I get the benefits, whereas in, any other job, like in nursing, you've got your banding, and that almost denotes kind of your value and your worth in that role. Yeah. And when you get to the top, then it doesn't matter how hard you work, you don't get any more money. Yeah. So, I would like the time freedom, and to have that to spend with my family, and to have, the benefits of the income that it brings to enjoy just with my family and doing the things that we enjoy.
Yeah, I think you're so right in terms of nursing and getting to that point where there is a cap on what you can earn, and it doesn't matter how good you are or how hard you work. That's the cap, and that's it, which is demoralizing and demotivating when you do reach that certain point. And I think, for a lot of nurses, it's probably not until maybe 10, 20 years down the line that becomes more apparent, because I think when you're younger, you're just preoccupied doing other stuff, aren't you, and having fun, and
definitely
being
and I think there comes a time where you think about yourself a little bit more and think, well, what am I getting out of this? So as much as I love nursing, it's always overworked and undervalued, and you can only really carry on. And I just didn't want to accept that for myself as a long-term plan. That just wasn't in my long-term plan.
So it's also getting that kind of sense of control, I suppose, isn't it? That you've taken something that you can do, and like you say, dependent on how much you put into it, you'll get whatever out of it. It's it's a kind of a empowering in a way, I suppose, to have that control, isn't it, rather than just being dependent on whatever you're given, and
and that paycheck at the end of the month, which is with this business, it's uncapped and it's willable. So if anything should happen to me, then it carries on going to my children, and it's a residual income. So you can be, the company's in 160 countries, and so you can be earning money if you've got businesses in other countries, which I haven't at the minute, but a lot of girls do. Then you're earning money when you're asleep.
I like the sound of that. So you kind of mentioned that you regret not having got into this a little bit earlier, a few years ago. Would you say that's your kind of biggest regret now, or is there anything else that you think, I wish I'd sort of done that differently? Or
well, to be honest, I say that I regret not finding Forever earlier, but in hindsight, looking at along, years ago when, I think I was going through the menopause for about 5 years. And in that time, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this.
Right.
So I think everything comes to you when the time's ready for you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the time was right for me to do this now for me.
Yeah.
I just think I wish I was in this place, earlier than I was, maybe.
Yeah, I completely get you. I feel like that with my business. I wish I'd started earlier, but as you've just said, I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't in, I just wasn't ready for it. And so it kind of is what it is, isn't it? It's kind of, it would be great to have that maturity, but that's the whole point of life, isn't it? And the experiences that you build up, and they take you to a sort of certain point, a certain level of confidence. So I'd like to know again, what do you think is the key skill from nursing that's provided the most value in your business at the moment?
Well, I've written a list of those, actually.
Amazing.
I think in nursing, which we briefly touched on, I know before that, in nursing, you do underestimate the skills that you've actually, are, learning along the way. And you just get used to doing that role. It almost becomes second nature, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's only in hindsight when you're transferring those skills to a completely different, market as well, that you look back and realise. And I think with obviously with this business being health and wellness, I've got the knowledge, and the medical knowledge and the nursing knowledge, which stands in good stead when people know that you're a nurse. They know that you have, some degree of knowledge and expertise.
Yeah, it's credibility, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't have to be a nurse to come into this health and wellness business, but I think it just gives you that little bit more credibility.
Yeah.
I also think professionalism, that, after, being in that profession and, always maintaining your professional integrity within nursing, that never leaves you, and you take that, to another another area, and even though it's a completely different, I could sit here in my pajamas and do what I'm doing, but, when I'm a product of this business, it is my business, and I'll always maintain that professionalism, because it's what I have always done, and you bring your ethics, your professional ethics as well.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Into what you do. So that's something that almost is, it goes without saying in nursing, but it's always there. You don't always realise that, or appreciate it.
It's very true.
Communication skills, I think you'd struggle in nursing if you didn't have those, to a good degree. And that again, in this, multi-level marketing is network marketing, which, is that's what you do in life. You do in every business, and you do in life. Whereas before I was, I wasn't really that, bothered about going out there and getting to know other people. Whereas, now I'm kind of casting that net a little bit wider and just finding that I'm interested in those connections and meeting other people. And I think the communication skills from nursing, and not only that, to be honest, I don't know whether it's just me or all nurses, but I'm just a bit nosy. So I kind of, you kind of take that with it as well. I'll talk to you about that, and you're asking all the questions. Because, I think you just, when you've got that interest in people and you like to know about people,
yeah.
I always used to like asking my patients, the older patients about, I used to say, come on, let's have a sit down and let's have a chat. And I'd say to them, what did they do when they were younger, and what was the happiest time in their life, and, just general information like that. So again, it's just being nosy and just interested in people. I think caring, it's a health and wellness business, so I care about other people's health and wellness. I'm here to help people to look better, to feel better, and I genuinely care about the problems or the issues or the pain points that they've got that I could bring a solution to. Organising, time management, going back to the diary, with, in nursing, you've got to be organised, haven't you? Because you've got that many things to get through.
Yeah.
Working with a team, which is, nursing, I think, working in a team of like-minded people, and then take that experience. Your leadership skills, now being on your own and wanting to build your own team, the leadership skills that you've learned within that nursing team, you carry those. Multitasking, what nurse isn't doing 5 things at the same time?
Absolutely.
I think attention to detail is something which, I always maybe didn't realise I had so much when I was kind of clinical nursing, but I think when I did my aesthetics as well, and it just has to be right, and now, I just like to do it so it's to a good standard, and it does have that attention to detail.
Yeah.
I think being adaptable and having the self-development, in nursing, you're always encouraged to have that professional development.
Yeah, always learning.
That's something that when you do look into a different area of business, again, that's a massive form of self-development. You can just continue that journey that you've started in your nursing career.
Yeah, that's true. It's not new for us, is it? Whereas for some people, if they go into a career, the learning ends, they've done their degree or whatever. But you're right, for us, it's just, that's natural. It's what we do, isn't it? We go on courses, we do training, we are always open to learning new skills. And
and there's lots in nursing, because when I did a PGC in education, and I was lecturing in health and social care for 4 years.
Yeah.
And in the education field, they used to have study days, but there was nothing that were university courses, and there was nothing that was funded or that you'd get a day off to go to.
Yeah.
And it was only when I had that time out of the NHS that I realised, for that development, of personal and professional, that it was actually a really good place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's quite a list.
So don't underestimate the skills, because sometimes going into a new venture, a new business is very daunting.
Yes.
It's like staying in your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there.
Yeah.
That's what they say. So just realizing your worth and what you actually have got to offer.
Completely. And I think, that this is something I've talked about over and over. And I do think, for exactly as you've just eloquently put it, that a lot of nurses today just don't understand and appreciate all of the skill set they have, or how phenomenal it is, because it's just what they do every day, and it's like, well, it's just what I do. But it is amazing when you stop and start picking it apart and realizing that, you can do like so many different, you've acquired so many different skills and experience. It's actually not the norm in most careers, in most jobs. And so that's the kind of advantage I think that we have.
Yeah, I think if you've done nursing, you can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, I agree. What would you say, what value would you say that having a business brings to your life or adds to your life?
I think it's added value in the sense of, for myself, for me, developing myself and growing as a person, that's brought value into my family life, into my personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's been, I feel like my children have learned, they're learning from, seeing me doing what I'm doing.
Fantastic.
They're proud that I've taken that kind of leap to invest in, something for myself and for us.
Yeah.
And also, definitely the time freedom of being able to spend more time together.
Yeah.
That's been a massive plus.
Yeah.
And just that value of kind of just recognising your own worth as well, like we just said, and knowing that, you have got, almost a bit more to offer than you thought.
Yeah.
And, sharing that with other people, offering that knowledge and skills and knowing that you're still making a difference to people's lives, and because everything, even in the world of selling, if you're in it to sell a product, then really you're not in the right
yes.
Market.
Yeah,
and like
it shows.
Before and having the ethics, health and wellness is about helping people, and again, I can still do that now, even it might not be on the wards, it might not be in a clinical area, but within this field I can still do that. So that adds value to other people, to my life, but to other people's lives that I'm helping. And in network marketing, it is a case of you can help people with either your products, your opportunity, or both. To share this. It isn't for everyone. Like no business is for everyone. No job. There's lots of people that couldn't do nursing, isn't there? They don't want to.
Absolutely. And that's the point of these interviews as well, is just because there are lots of different business models and fields of business. So it's just nice to talk to someone who's in this particular sector, because we haven't done that before. And that's the whole idea, is to kind of give people a kind of more fully rounded picture of the options that are available to them, and this is an option, and obviously one that you're really enjoying being part of.
I think one of the biggest values is realising that we are actually capable of pretty much anything that we turn our mind to. The biggest thing in our way is usually us.
Yes.
Isn't it?
So true. Yes. So true. Yeah, I like that. Is there anything else that you want to say before I say goodbye to you? Is there anything else?
Just good luck to your ladies as to the ventures that they're looking to go in, and to really consider just taking that step and outside of that comfort zone, because there's a world outside of nursing that is there for the taking, and it doesn't mean that you leave it behind. You can just build on everything that you've done already.
That's right.
Which is amazing.
And you're on the group, so if anyone wanted to contact you, they can just message you, I assume.
Yeah, of course they can. Yeah.
And Instagram, do you do any of that business?
Yeah.
What are you under, Lisa Adams?
It's Lisa Adams.1. Yeah.
Oh,
it's on my Facebook anyway.
Okay, great.
That was the biggest challenge for me, was when I came into this. I said, I'm not good at IT and social media, but and I was dreading it. I nearly had a meltdown. I was crying when I went on Instagram. Never done Instagram, and I was crying. And my son was saying, "Mum, you'll be all right," And then I sussed it out, and then I said, "And what are these stories about?" And again, now I can do it in my sleep. So that again, it just shows you how you can do, because obviously nurses, like IT was never something that we really had to do much of. So again, it's always a challenge, but it's something that you can overcome and you can master, and again, they're new skills that you learn. So I have got an Instagram now, and it's on my Facebook page.
Marvellous. Lisa, it's been really lovely talking to you. I really appreciate it. It's been really informative. And you've just kind of given us an insight into MLM forever. And thank you ever so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome, and lovely to speak to you.
Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
See you later. That was Lisa Adams. I hope that was really interesting. I found it really interesting. She was talking about MLM and what that is, how it works. She works for a company called Forever. I'm going to sign off, say good night. And as always, as I said at the start, if you've got any questions or comments about anything that came up on that little session, do get in touch. And I'll be back in a few weeks bringing you someone else who does something completely different. So stay tuned for that, and have yourselves an absolutely lovely evening and a fantastic week. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.